So I have no preparation for this video. I just want to film it as raw and real as I can. I've been talking to a couple close people about this, and I realize that there's not a lot of people in my personal life that I can really talk to about this. However, the people I've told have been so understanding. So I never ever thought that I would have a testimony video, ever. I grew up Christian. My mom's side is Christian. My dad's side, they don't really talk about religion or faith or anything like that, so it just wasn't really a thing on his side. But I grew up with my mom's side of the family. I grew up around it all the time. My grandparents, my mom, my uncle, my cousins, they were very big on Christianity. My relationship with church was kind of on and off. I would go as a kid. I don't remember when we stopped going. I want to say I was like in middle school when we stopped going, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember going at all in middle school or high school, so maybe I was about 10, 11. I went again after dating my ex-boyfriend who was Muslim, and I loved how dedicated he was to his religion, so it actually inspired me to go back to church. And after we broke up, that was my focus. I was like, well, the one thing I can take out of that relationship, obviously we didn't work because our religious differences were pretty strong, but what it did teach me was, wait, I want to grow in my faith. I want to go back to church. I want to start praying. I love the idea of fasting, and I learned a lot from that, and I thought it was really cool, but I quickly stopped going again and just kept being of the world, honestly. Then I started dating somebody else on and off for a couple years. It wasn't serious. I wanted it to be serious. I always felt like I had to prove my worth. I feel like the way I dressed, the things I bought, the way I acted, it was all for a man's approval, which was really took a toll. So when that ended, I went to church again. So it's interesting how for me, heartbreak is what led me to the Lord, but that was it. So I started going to church. I started going with my friend. I started reading the Bible a little bit, and this was during the pandemic. So then quickly I was not going to church anymore because the pandemic, and then I never went back. So after 2020, I haven't been since. I would watch it online, and then I stopped being motivated by watching it online, and I just stopped. So fast forward to now, I'm in a relationship. My boyfriend's not Christian. It was something that was heavy on me since the beginning, but I just felt like I was right, like in the right place with him. So that's something I'm still I still work through, but I almost feel at peace with it now, but that's also a separate topic. So I was scared now being in this relationship that I wouldn't grow my relationship with the Lord, because I noticed that I wanted to get closer to him after those two relationships ended, once I experienced heartbreak. So I had to make a conscious decision of, I don't want to wait until I'm broken to start following the Lord. I don't want to wait until people that are close to me pass away, or I experience another breakup, or what if I don't, like, you know what I mean? I don't want to wait for negative things to happen to embrace the Lord. I want to be thankful every day for what I have. So I started expressing tons of gratitude. I started praying again, but my prayers felt very, what's the word I'm looking for? They were just very rehearsed. They were just always the same. I didn't really feel like I was talking. I was like, wait, I have to pray before I go to bed. It was more like a I have to thing, and I would just ask for the same things all the time and be thankful for the same things all the time. I struggled with that. I struggled with wanting to read the Bible because it's such a big book, and I have it right here with me as I'm recording, but I never knew where to start. It's like, do I start with the New Testament? Do I start with the Old Testament? Do I start with any book within them? And I just didn't know. I just had a lot of struggles around it still. I felt like, okay, I believe in God. I believe in the creator of the world. I was there, but I didn't believe in Jesus. Angela Ucci, if I'm pronouncing her last name right, is she's a huge reason why I'm here right now. Talked about why people kind of get a little uncomfortable with the word Jesus, those who are non-believers. You can say Buddha, you can say Mohammed, you could talk about any other religion, but when it comes to Jesus, people get a little uncomfortable, and there's no coincidence for that. There's a reason for that, because that name has so much power. And now that I see that, my whole worldview has just changed completely. I always struggled with believing in Jesus. I was like, well, I have friends that are Hindu, I have friends that are Muslim, I have friends that are more spiritual, more new agey. So there's so many different beliefs. Who am I to say that Christianity is the one truth, right? So that was where I was at up until this year. So I'm I believe in God, I believe I'm still Christian, I have a relationship, I pray to him, stuff like that, but I don't know about the whole like Jesus thing. Like, is that really real? And that always scared me, because I'm like, wait, like I really need to like figure out what I believe in, because I do fear the end times and I do believe in all of that stuff. But if I don't, you know, speak to the Lord, then I'm not really gonna get anywhere. And I can imagine at the end of my time, like, not even knowing what to say, because I was just so clouded by so many opinions and so many thoughts and so many beliefs and so many, just too much noise is what I like to say. I decided to understimulate myself. I decided to just take a week break from the gym, take a week break from social media. And I didn't tell myself it was gonna be a week, I just said I needed time off. I didn't know how long it was gonna be. All I wanted to do was consume myself in Christian content so I can learn, read the Bible, and try actually talking to Jesus and believing that I'm talking to him, not just like, oh yeah, like this is what I'm supposed to do, but actually feel that conversation. And ever since that day, my entire world is different. And I'm glad I'm not crying now, because last night I was a wreck, because yesterday was the day that I noticed that shift in me. Like, I have been somebody who has been so silent in so many things. You see me and I'm never passionate about anything. I don't get passionate. I get passionate about health, maybe, about like the ingredients in my food, but when it comes to like the important things of life, I just stay quiet, because I don't feel like I have the knowledge or I have the passion to speak on things until now. Now I just feel like I can't hold this in. I can't. Over the last week, I'm not, you know, working out as much. I'm navigating how I'm gonna get back on Instagram. Am I going to mute a bunch of people, unfollow a bunch of people? Am I gonna make a new account? Am I gonna stay off completely? I didn't really know what to do there, so I had to figure that all out. I'm watching a lot of content. I don't have a lot of Christians around me. I don't have a mentor. A lot of people have mentors. They've been going to church for a while. I don't really have that. To see that there's other young people my age, people a little older, a little younger, that are so dedicated to their faith is so beautiful to me. And from watching this content and seeing how people live their day with Jesus in it, in like the craziness of having jobs and having kids, but still making Jesus a priority in their lives, really hit me. In this week, I listened to a lot of information, and finally I felt so convicted for so many different things. It was little by little for some of them. Modesty has been weighing on me for a while now. I don't want to get into the specifics of everything I was convicted of, because I feel like I should make separate videos on each one of these things, but it was the music industry, modesty, pornography, new age practices. I have a list here. Trauma, where Satan enters trauma. Even like makeup, going to the gym for the wrong reasons. And I mean, I'm gonna go back to the gym and I'm back on social media, but I wasn't doing those things for the right reasons. Now I feel like I see things in a new light. I see how powerful the spiritual world is, and people that tell me that they're spiritual, I get it. Be spiritual, but understand that there is a God and there is a devil. And I didn't feel like passionate talking about this before, but all of a sudden I do. And I called my boyfriend yesterday crying because I just felt so many emotions. It was like I was sad for that the world is in the place that it is. I was happy that I have fresh eyes to see what's going on. But I also just felt so, I feel like, you know, the devil is almost at work now, because he sees that I'm turning away. I'm no longer gonna follow the ways of the world. I don't care if I lose people in my life. I don't care if people start seeing me as some crazy Jesus freak. Like, I don't really care. I still see everybody in my life the same way. I still love everybody the same way. I'm still the same person, but I'm just like looking at the world as an outsider now rather than being in it. And that's kind of weird. It's definitely weird. It's like I'll watch a show and like hear certain things and I'm like, I don't like that. Or I'll listen to music and I'll hear certain lyrics and I'm like, I don't really like that. You just see these things and you're like, wow, just the world is just so different than what you think. You think that everybody's a conspiracy theorist and that people are coming up with all these things and, you know, this is the work of the devil, this is the work of the devil, oh, you guys are crazy. And it's like, no. And I'm just not afraid now. And it feels so freeing. I'm not afraid to say, no, I don't want to go to a bar tonight. I'm not comfortable. Or no, I don't want to wear that. That makes me uncomfortable. You know, like, I don't care what other people are doing, but I'm just completely gonna change. So I don't really know what this testimony is, but it's really like I definitely heard the Lord speaking to me yesterday, and I felt a strong pull. And I don't know if that was like a pull from the devil or a pull from like, or just like a huge wave of emotion of like, oh my God, there's too many convictions happening in a very short time period. But it's a lot. It's crazy how you go to church and they always say, if you have decided to accept Jesus today, like come up front. And I've never come up front because I'm like, yeah, I mean, I know I have Jesus. Like, yeah, I'm Christian. I know him. I get it now. When you actually make that decision deep down, everything's going to change. Like, your world is going to change. And it's so unfortunate that I know people want to do it, but they don't really feel it. So like they try and they're like, oh, it didn't work. Didn't work. It's not for me. And I totally get now why Christians like share so much, because before I'm like, I'm just gonna keep it to myself. I have a relationship with God, but it's gonna stay within me. I don't need to speak to anybody about this. There's other people that want to spread the gospel. I can't do that. I don't want to be pushy. I don't want to be labeled as that Christian. But I get it now. It's like, once you feel that, you want everyone to feel that. Like, you don't want people to be deceived the way they're being deceived, and these people have such good intentions. That's the part that's so sad. Here I am. Never thought that my channel would go in this direction. Things are definitely changing in me, and I'm so excited. Like, I'm so excited for my future. Being with family, just being around people that make me happy, and being at peace in the craziness of this world. I will start sharing more days of my life. They're probably gonna look a little bit different. I still love health. I still love fashion. I still love fitness, but I am seeing these things differently now, and I think that's gonna help so much, especially with how much anxiety I have. Like, my next steps is now casting my anxiety onto the Lord, because that's been one that's really hard to navigate. I've just been such an anxious person for so long, and now that I have so much faith, I'm excited. I'm like, wow, I am going to put my anxiety into the Lord's hands, and I cannot wait to see how I'm moved. I probably should have prepared a Bible verse, but I'll just tell you guys what I'm reading. I'm rereading Matthew, first book of the New Testament. I'm on chapter 19, and maybe when I'm editing, I'll put a Bible verse from Matthew on the screen. I'm also going to post people that have really helped me. There's two varieties that I like to watch. I like to watch people that are just living their lives, but you can just see in the way they dress and the way they talk and how they don't have a heart full of hate. That's awesome. But then I now have introduced like people that aren't afraid to speak up about the spiritual world, and people who do want to like educate you on faith and about repentance. I didn't know anything about repenting until like a month ago. These people that aren't afraid to speak up, the more podcast style ones, I love that as well. I don't really know how to end this video, but if you have any crazy spiritual stories, definitely leave them in the comments. If you need prayer for anything, definitely leave that in the comments. All right guys, well, I will see you in my next video. Bye.